Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hear beeping on Mike's end, so you know we must be live on episode number 78 of Mirrorless Minutes. I think Mike's doing like a 360 photo of the intro to this show because Mike is on a say a spherical kick as of late. So so how you doing? Are you in the sauna? Are you at a Japanese steakhouse, or are you in a hotel, or are you in Finland or something?
Let's see. I won't show you, but I don't have my shoes on, so I could be in a Japanese steakhouse. But no, I am in Atlanta. So,
very cool.
Yeah, definitely back traveling again and seeing what's happening. And at the same time, I'm setting up a video right now. We're live 360 living. Right
very
now.
Cool. So let's talk about that. I mean, it is a mirrorless camera. It definitely qualifies for
absolutely mirrorless.
It definitely qualifies. It's very cool. So tell everybody what you're shooting with right now.
Okay, I will. I just thought of something though. I got to, and only you might know this, or if Frank Smith's watching.
Oh boy.
I wish I could try this in his bathroom.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah, okay, that's serious inside baseball, but like of the coolest orders of magnitude of awesome ever. I'd be willing to send my camera to Frank when it arrives just for him to shoot in his bathroom.
I mean, mirrors and mirrors and mirrors. But
people that are watching probably think drugs. Just a really quick, we'll give you the inside scoop on this. Frank Smith, fellow visionary. Every year when we go to the Visionary Summit when it's in Pennsylvania, Frank hosts a party at his house. Incredibly gracious host, has all these people come over. And the highlight for me, aside from getting to meet all these wonderful people, is going into his bathroom. He's got this bathroom, and so it is literally mirrors on all the walls. And you go into it, and it is almost disorienting. But every time I go to Frank's house, I have to get into the bathroom and take a selfie. So Mike is shooting with a camera that would be great in there. And I'll let Mike talk about this camera shooting.
All right. So, and here it is. It's the Insta360 one. And what you're looking at, I'm sorry about the lighting tonight. I don't bring lighting to hotels. So if they have it, and it's dark, so I'm not even getting light outside. But this pulls out. This is the cover, and as I'm pulling it out there, and I don't know how well you can see. I'm trying to get up to the thing here.
Yeah.
But you can tell, and I'll just show you real quick how it easily works, or how it's got a little flip down for the lightning connector to come out. I think you're seeing that.
Yep.
And of course, the lightning connector, it's got to go on the iPhone, so it mounts right inside the iPhone. And it'll start right up, and it'll go into the 360 program, of which it is. But this new one, this Insta 360, this is a brand new one. Shoots in 24 megapixel raw images, and just it's hard to even explain what it does. So it takes a picture of everything. It's when it says 360, it means it.
So there's a camera on either side of that.
Yeah, there is. So you're looking at
each camera has a 180-degree field of view.
Right.
So if you know your maths, 180 plus 180 equals 360, which in all directions creates a sphere.
A sphere, right.
So, and then I'm assuming, I already know the answers to this, but just play along with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that there's software that stitches those two images together to make a sphere, right?
There's our sphere. You're looking now. Oh, you might be able to see my no shoes. You're looking around my whole hotel room right now, and as you can tell, let's see here. There is Jamie. That's the picture of you right there. I don't know if you can see it well.
Oh yeah.
But so that's that, and it does video. It does 4K video, and of course, one of the things that I've sort of been the kick on is this tiny planets thing, and believe it or not, it might have one to show tonight. So here, I think we just went live in my this thing. Yeah,
so
can you tell that there it is? All right.
Yeah. So it's a 360 camera.
Yep.
It allows you to do 24 megapixel stills. It records in 4K, which because it's having to span 360 degrees, the output image resolution isn't going to be 4K, but I think it's 1080p though, right?
Yeah, it is. It is
because
1080p.
I saw some of the video that you had done in Chicago, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit.
Right.
It was really incredible looking from that little device there.
Yeah, and it does a couple things, and like I know a few other people that might be getting one, and they're asking me lots of questions like, how do you do this and how do you do that? And speaking of which, Bill, if you're watching, Bill Booze, I know we all wish I had more information, but I'm learning too right now as we speak.
Yeah.
But it's got this one thing I'd like to talk about, this free capture, it's called. And that is what's changed. And so you put this on, and this is one of those things you can't believe that I'm talking about, is a selfie stick.
Right.
And I don't own many selfie sticks, but I do now. But when you walk around with the selfie stick and you hold it out, 3-4 feet from you, and you don't have to move it. You don't have to twist it around. You just keep it straight up and down. And what you can do is you come back. I came back to the hotel room in Chicago after walking down the street, scouting out an area for live composite. And I can sit in my chair inside the room that spins around, your work chair. And that's how you actually edit the video. As you're spinning around, you show what you want the person to see during the whole video. And then it puts out the video with that. It's a flat video. It's not something you can spin around like a 360.
Yep.
This is a flat video, but you're choosing the point of view. So it's as if I was walking the streets with 100 cameras on.
That's exactly. So I was having a discussion today with our buddy Seth, explaining that mode to him. So basically, because it's recording in 360 degrees all the time,
right,
you can come back after the fact and choose the point of view that people see at any given point in time in the video. So like you said, if you're walking with the camera, you just hold it in one spot. You could be talking to the camera, and then part of the video, you can have it showing you while you're talking. And then you can say, oh, look over there. And then you in software are editing it so that they're seeing what you're looking at. So
you spin yourself to that area. And as you're spinning, you're holding the little record button on the actual screen. And then you say, see here, this is what I'm saying. Then you spin it back to your face. Now, do you understand what I'm, it's just like,
it's insane.
Oh, God. So there's, and then I tried the other night. I know Denise was mad at me, my wife. I had it on the hot shoe of the camera. And I was going around. I was talking about what I was shooting in the house, which absolutely no one will ever see this video. So like I'm talking about what the aperture settings are, and I'm shooting the little dog, and then I'm trying to shoot my wife as she's doing bills, and she's like really mad at me to get out of her face. But I'm talking. I'm saying look up, and but I can keep shifting back and forth to myself. I got the barrel of the. I just see some training. I got the barrel of the lens in there. There's some real training aspects. And I think if you sync up a good video, or a good audio with it, the audio is good, but you're also going to get a ton of exterior noise and ambient noise. But like if you do that, you just sync up some good audio. You really got a nice, and it comes out at 1080p. Yeah, that's
very
good
cool.
stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean that alone is worth it. And then there's a lot of other little fun things with this bullet time, like acting like Keanu Reeves in Matrix.
Yeah, only I'd be a lot less graceful than him, I think. I know. So I get mine Friday, and I think that's exactly what I want to do. That I really want to start getting back into putting together YouTube videos. I had a lot of fun with Jerry James up north a couple weeks ago, doing one, and I really realized how much I miss doing video. And I think that this kind of adds a whole nother level of complexity, not in difficulty, but I mean in the complexity of the finished product, what it can look like. And I'm really looking forward to just being able to walk in the woods and then point out things as I'm walking without having to turn another camera around or stop and set up another camera here and all that. That's really cool.
Exactly it. I mean, so even probably one of the better ways, maybe it isn't on the hot shoe, but it's on that selfie stick 3 foot out in front of you like this.
Yep.
And you're just talking, but you can, you go ahead and you click to what you saw.
Yep.
You go ahead and turn it so to let us see what you want, and then drop in your picture that you got from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you just did the whole video in one take, basically.
Right. And it's cool because, and I don't know if people have seen any of the clips or footage from this thing, but it will stitch out the selfie stick. So generally, like I've seen tons of videos, and I've seen even Mike's video, he's walking with it in a selfie stick, holding his hand out in front of him. And it looks like there's somebody walking like 6 feet or 7 feet in front of him, recording him. And it just, all you see is his hand like this. You don't see that he's got a big long selfie stick going out to this camera. It's really cool.
Right. You know, and there's lots of little tips, you know, like if you get a selfie stick that might have a ball head, you take that ball head off because you don't want to tilt it. You don't tilt those cameras towards you or anything. You want them straight up and down. Yeah. You know, and, you know, things like that. But, you know, so here I'm in Atlanta. I've got the Mirrorless Mover 20. I mean, this is a tiny little think tank bag. I've got the 360. I got a selfie stick. You see up here, I've got the little Manfrotto tripod and the Olympus Pen F. So I can do everything from live composite at night all the way through 360s. And this is the smallest pack I've ever traveled with. And I know I got my great Olympus gear with me at the same time. I've got the 360, and I'm in a crazy hotel right now that you'll see pictures, I guarantee it, over the next 2 nights.
Yeah, it doesn't all look like a Japanese steakhouse inside.
Right, no. Yeah, if I start to sweat, get worried because it's not a sauna.
Right. Very cool. Well, it's cool that you have that, and you've been putting together a lot of content with it. So I think people should definitely go check that camera out, or, you know, just at least get on YouTube and watch some of the videos that people are putting out. Mike put one on his channel, you know, the other day. You have to go see it. Like watching this train come through in Chicago. It's the craziest looking thing ever. It's so cool.
Yeah, the train bends out of, and you know what? Some people, I've actually had some people, and I'm sure you can imagine this with the internet world, you know, complain that, you know, I just don't like these pictures, this tiny planet, you know. Okay, it's all right, man. Don't look at it.
And some people don't like black and white, and some people don't like HDR,
whatever.
You know, it's just different strokes.
It's a different thing, and I got to tell you what, it's enhanced my Pen F photography, so that I'm thinking of different angles and what I want to try to do, and you know, and how can I help people? I'm already thinking now I can help some people do, like you're saying, do some videos live with live composite. As I'm saying, here's what I'm setting up today, what I'm going to shoot tonight. That's what people are always asking for. So but yeah, tool. So that's just one little thing of this tiny little 2-week span. I mean, this has been the 2 weeks, and not for me. I mean, I've done a little things, but Jamie has been on your life's been sort of 360. Yeah,
without a doubt. And that was like the whole you know, premise of the show title. So, you know, without going into crazy detail, I left for Minneapolis to do a drink and click, and then another 2-day event afterwards in Minneapolis for National Camera Exchange for Olympus. And I flew out on Thursday. Yeah, I flew out on Thursday. It was so crazy of a trip that I lose track of days here. So I flew out on a Thursday, and I flew out Thursday morning, and I was there for the day, and then started this drink and click event, you know, in downtown Minneapolis. It was great, having a good time, and the event starts to wrap up, and I finally decided I should check in on my phone, see how my family's doing or whatever. And I have a text there that my wife drove herself to the hospital, to the emergency room. So I call home, call my son, and by this time it's like 11 o'clock at night on Thursday, and my mom answers the phone, and I'm like, what's going on? You know, because my mom's at my house. I'm like, this is totally not right. Like, what's going on? And she told me that that my wife was having a problem with her arm, and her arm was like swelling up really bad, and it hurt really bad. So she drove herself to the ER. She wouldn't let my son drive her. She wouldn't wait for my mom to get there. She just drove herself to the emergency room. So I was stressing out. And I couldn't get through to her, you know, and then it took a little while. And then finally around like 12:30 that night, I got through to my wife, and she said, that she had been admitted, and that she thought that it was, it's called cellulitis. It's like a skin infection. And so I was, you know, that was where we were at with that. I wake up the next morning, and my wife says, she goes, I'm not getting out. They're definitely admitting me, and but I want you to stay and finish what you're doing. And I said, there's no way. I mean, there's no way I can leave my wife 600 miles away in the hospital and then have my head in the game to do this event. So, I called my people at Olympus and they were like, no, don't stay. You need to get on a plane and get home. We'll help you book another flight. They were having their booking people like try and find me flights. It was just crazy how much help they were. And then Delta came through in the end, and really hooked me up and took care of me in regards to that. And Frank Smith, whose bathroom is famous that we were talking about earlier, Frank stepped up to bat and offered to fly in literally last minute, changed his whole life around and flew out to cover for me to do this event for National Camera Exchange. And while I'm sitting at the airport and waiting to come home, I find out that my wife had been moved to the intensive care unit. Yeah. And she was in the intensive care unit for like 4 or 5 days, 5 days. We spent a total of 11 days in the hospital. So during all of that time, it was chaos. It was terrifying. Her arm, I'm not sharing pictures of that tonight because this would go from a semi-family friendly show to a horror flick. It was awful. It was so bad that my wife still currently talks about her arm as if it's this separate entity that is not part of her. She calls it the monster, and she'll say, "Have you seen the monster today? How does it look?" Like, so it was bad. She kept an incredible sense of humor through all this, and so she's home now. Long story short, she's home. She's on the mend, but so many people stepped up and just kind of helped me and my kids out. They brought us food and sent us food. And it was like, it's not like I can't cook, but it was just such a disorienting and routine altering experience, but my photography family and friends out there are just astounding. I don't even know what to say, but everybody that offered their well wishes and their thoughts and prayers and good vibes and juju and everything else that you can send out that's positive. Thank you guys all so much for that. We're trying to get back to normal here. She's downstairs, just relaxing. She's still really weak, but she's home. So I haven't shot a lot, as you can probably imagine. Probably not. I counted the shots on the camera. There were 12 shots that I took in Minnesota. 12. And there's only reason there was 12 is because I was using like either the Pen F and shooting in RAW plus JPEG, or when I was on the EM1 Mark II, I was RAW plus JPEG because I was shooting in monotone. So literally 6 photos is all I took. That's all I had time to take before I had to come home.
Wow. So, yeah, that's it actually, it feels like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
It does.
Like that all this has happened inside the 4,
inside our last episode. Yeah. And my employer for my day job, they've just been astounding. They've like, they're like, just stay home, leave early, do whatever you want to do, whatever you need to do, whatever has to be done. We don't care. We'll take care of you. Just, be with them. I'm like, man, it's definitely been a lot easier than it could have been otherwise. But but we're getting back to normal here. So
that'll definitely be nice. Well, so in the midst of all that, I know I was when you were going to come back from Minneapolis that next weekend, because you had this like crazy, what was it, 3 or 4 week stretch of a lot of stuff to do. And we had talked about that because every year you and I are always involved with the Kelby Walk.
Yes.
And and that takes a lot of effort on our parts, a lot on yours for sure. I know, trying to get gifts and stuff. And we, and you had this long stretch. So you said, you know what, this year we're going to take it off. And thought that actually was a great idea. I thought it was a great idea too.
Yeah. And,
and then all of a sudden, and this next weekend or this last weekend, we were in Chicago together. It was our workshop.
Yeah.
That we had planned for 10 months.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it was like literally 2 major events.
Yeah.
In my photographic year, both were shelved, during this period of time. Because like you said, it was literally, I was going to do, the event in Minneapolis, come home, and then I was heading out, the very next weekend with you.
Yeah, 4 days later, we were driving into Chicago.
Yeah, and my wife wasn't even home until you were on your way home, I don't think. So
the same day that our workshop ended is she got out of the hospital. And and I mean, even to the day, even probably till Wednesday, 2 days before we would have left, you were still trying to think, do I do it? Do I not do it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I think everybody at the workshop, you know, it gets, if anybody's ever done a workshop or if anyone's done one with ours, one of the reasons I think we're extremely successful in my mind, or that we get good, let's say, reviews from the bulk of the people, is that we have a good rapport, play off each other. So if somebody's working on one thing, the other person can work with the people on another, feature or something on the camera. Yep. So that, you know, but when that other person isn't there, it's like any of us, you're like, oh crap, if I start talking to 2 people about live composite, all of a sudden I'm forgetting about 8 over here, you know, and 10 with 10 people. And, you know, and it takes a lot longer to walk through the streets when you know, your person's there. But, you know, Tim Karras, who was on the workshop, a Chicago person, also huge and out of Chicago with Chris Smith, stepped up and helped out a lot. And you know what, I think, because everybody knows you so well that was on the workshop, I think they all tried to help anyways. You know, they really did. I mean, they were trying to be as nice as possible, and we kept trying to get you involved from a standpoint of just saying, well, let's take a picture for Jamie, or let's do a 360 for Jamie. so you know, for that, and it was a great weekend. And I guess the only part of it that upsets me is because we had maybe 2 of the best sunrise mornings I've ever seen. I mean, even Tim Karras, who lives in Chicago and does a ton of sunrises, he was blown away. And I just said, Jamie needed these so bad. So so me and Jamie are committed to just go, if we have to, we just go by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's because I think we both need that. I know you need that more than anything.
Definitely ready for an escape, believe me.
Yeah. But the workshop was great. I think we went in, we did a great sunrise. I think people thought I was nuts that we were getting up at 5 a.m, getting into Ubers. I think the Uber driver thought he's used to picking up drunk people off Friday night at 5 a.m. He's got all these lively photographers going, hey, got tripods. And so they thought we were a bit odd. But we went on to North Avenue Beach. Is a beautiful place to see the city and the sunrise. And then the next morning out at the Buckingham Fountain, which was sort of a last-minute place, which definitely, if anybody ever gets there, the Buckingham Fountain doesn't even start going till 8 o'clock as far as the water flowing.
Yeah.
Go there for sunrise because nobody goes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The city just turns golden behind when the water's not on. It's like, you got to be kidding me. So it was that part of it was great. And I think overall though we had a real good time. We spent a ton of time in Wicker Park. Did a lot of street shooting. Ate at a good pizza place. You know what? We had a lot of fun, and we missed you, but we knew you were taking care of the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that's much more important than photography and all the crap we do.
Yeah, I'm glad. We keep good company. I guess that's the best way to put it. That everybody was, understanding and accommodating, because I think my 2 biggest concerns, outside of my wife, obviously, were sticking you with trying to lead an entire group solo, and then people feeling like they didn't get what they came for by having a single instructor. So I'm glad that Tim, jumped in there and offered help too. And I'm glad it worked out in the end. Cause I'll tell you what, dude, it was as much as I had going on, it was still like really heavy in my mind. It's been a lot of it's been a lot of anguish the last, couple of weeks, worrying about the workshop, worrying about my wife, worrying about my commitment to Olympus. It was just like,
well, and at the same time, even like you talked about your employer, I think it's great that they stepped up. If you know me, I got like that HR brain. You haven't been there a year.
No, I have not.
And they could be crappy about it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, they certainly could, and they definitely
stepped up big time for you. In my mind, just allowing you to do what you need to do.
Yeah,
is real important. So. But, well, do you have one of your 12 pictures to show? Or?
Yeah, actually, so like I said, I'll just start my screen share and then I'll talk a little bit about it. So, it's like I don't even remember how to do this.
Yeah.
So let's start application window. There we go. So this shot, the only reason I'm sharing this, I don't think this occurred in between episodes. But it is, I sold a print of this, so I'm super excited. I sold a print of a different photo that was taken during the same evening that I took this, but this is another print also that I just recently sold, and the only reason I'm sharing it, well, because I love the picture for one thing, but the big reason I'm sharing it is because I just want to keep mentioning to people, print photos out. I don't do it enough, and it seems like I only end up doing it when somebody requests a print. And handing off a print to this family the other day that came in and picked it up. They drove in from over near Howell, so they drove a little ways, 45, 50 minutes to get here to pick up a print from me. And the level of excitement on their face of having a physical version of an image, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so that's why we do this, to be able to have something tangible, something solid in your hands, and we don't do that enough anymore. So I'm just sharing this because it was a reminder to me that I need to start printing more, so I actually ordered like a whole crap load of prints, and I'm just glad my wife doesn't watch the show, so she didn't hear that, but a lot of big prints. So camera details info. Of course, the 7 to 14 millimeter on the EM1 Mark II, using 2 Nisi filters. I was using a 3-stop. No, wait. I'm sorry. I take that back. A reverse graduated and a graduated neutral density. No hard stops on that to slow the shutter speed down. Going to the next photo. One of the 6 shots that I shot there. So if you've never been to a drink and click event, this is kind of what happens there. Generally, they will bring in a handful of models. I've only ever seen female models there, but I'm not sure if they sometimes bring in male models as well. But they happen to have a couple of great models to work with that they knew what they were doing. So it made people like me who don't shoot people really comfortable in shooting them. But this was taken downtown Minneapolis. I think it's called the Pantages Theater down there. And it was on the rooftop of this restaurant, and a really cool setting. I just wanted to share this for 2 reasons. Number one is to let you know about drinking clicks. You should definitely attend one if you see one advertised in your area. They are a blast. I think we had about 200 people at this event, all there to test out gear and shoot models. And it was fun to just be able to work with people on camera settings and stuff. This was shot with the EM1 Mark II. I had it in monotone mode. This was right off the camera at f1.2. I manipulated the model by moving her so that she sat more in front of the sign, so I could get the sign behind her, with the great little bokeh lights from the sign. Again, straight out of camera in mono mode. This is a JPEG, so no alterations there. And we had live music, which was really fun as well. This guy was great. He's actually been on, I think it was American Idol, I think I was told there. So he had been through like really far into the tryouts. Great guy, great musician. But EM1 Mark II, 25 millimeter f1.2, JPEG, straight out of the camera, spot metering. So if you ever shoot like a person performing on a stage, I suggest working with spot metering. It tends to give you a little bit more, I think, interesting, more dynamic and dramatic looking results as far as the way it plays the lighting off of the person. The next 2 shots were recent shots, and this one, I wanted to share this and talk about it because it sounds so silly and corny to say, but this shot was 3 years in the making. I do the same drive, been making the same drive back and forth to the town of Jackson where I work. Been doing that drive every work day for 20 plus years. And there's this great spot that I stop and shoot every once in a while. Rolling hillside, a really tall hill, one of the tallest elevations in Jackson County, actually. And there's a herd of cows that spend a lot of mornings on the hill. Sometimes they're at the top. Most of the time, they're just below the ridge of the hill there. And I've always thought, man, it would be cool if I could get the sunrise and one of those cows standing in front of the sun. Now, I only pass by this on work days. I go to work at a specific time, right? So the sun isn't always cresting that hill. You literally have this, I'm going to say, 2 or 3 week window where I could probably not be late to work or not have to go in like super early or whatever, where the timing just works out right. And during those periods of time, I make sure I always have a 300 millimeter in my bag. Before, 3 years ago, before we had the 300 millimeter, it was the 75 to 300. So again, I just knew that the potential was there for this shot, and I lucked out last week. It was one of the days when I went back to work after, when my wife was in the hospital, and it was kind of like a healing thing for me to be able to get this shot. It was something great that I've been wanting to do. This is EM1 Mark II, 300 millimeter f4 with the MC14 teleconverter on it, so 420 millimeters. I shot literally every single phase of this sun rising up. I think I have about 75 or 80 photos that show the entire process of it, from just a little sliver to all the way above the cow. And this just happens to be one of my favorite ones. This one is not straight out of camera, though. This is processed using one of my personal Lightroom presets that I've developed. So yeah, it's pretty stoked, man, to get a shot that I've been pining after for like 3 years. And again, it's just a cow on a hill, but hey, it took 3 years to do it, so I was pretty pumped. And then the last one is, we're pretty much at the end of corn season here, and when you don't have anything like massive structure or something to put in the foreground, I like to find something that has color and shape and texture to put into it, just to kind of add to the scene. And me, I've got to, if there's great clouds and a beautiful sunset, then I'm going to be all over it. Nothing fancy about this, just a fun set is what I call them, when it's fun to get out and shoot the sunset. EM1 Mark II, 7 to 14 millimeter with a Nisi reverse graduated neutral density filter on it. And this is a 3-shot bracketed in Lightroom HDR image. So I haven't done a lot of shooting. I've done a little bit, but you do what you can do with the time you've got. And I want to share one more thing really quick, and hopefully this works. So yesterday, and this is all about just being prepared for anything. And by being prepared for anything, I mean taking an excessive amount of gear with you, I guess, which again, for me, that meant the 300 millimeter. So the photos aren't great. For me, it was more of an experience to be able to see this, but I was driving home and there's this, well, you can see it in the shot there. It's like this marshy pond, and it's a great stop for migratory birds. Every year I watch it because it fills up with sandhill cranes. It fills up with geese and ducks. And at the back of this pond, you can see there's a vertical tree right here in the shot. That's almost about a little over 1/8 of a mile back off the road. I'm driving by it at 55 miles an hour, and I always look out to see what kind of birds are there. And I look and I see something sitting at the top of that tree, and I immediately think, that's a big damn bird. And I had a feeling it was an eagle. So sure enough, I turn around, and as I'm turning around driving back, I'm trying to slap the 300 millimeter on, the EM1 Mark II. And as I pull up and pull off the side of the road, I recognize that it's a juvenile bald eagle. And long story short, I shot a bunch of shots. He decided to fly away, which I thought, oh no, that's a bummer. But he did a U-turn and came straight back towards me, landed. I got a few more shots. He took off again. I thought he was going to go away. And then I just tracked him with the tracking and just fired off a bunch of shots. And I'm just going to pan through these really quick. So this is just a quick sequence of him going through and snatching up. It's hard to see, but that's a baby muskrat or some sort of small rodent in his talons down there. But wow, the tracking on this was like ridiculously good. And like I said, it was really crappy conditions yesterday. It was overcast and it was raining during the time of that, but the camera had no problem. The only reason there's any blur on these shots is because my shutter speed was too slow, because I was like flipping out, just trying to hurry up and get set up and shoot before he took off away. So yeah, just carry, carry gear, have it ready, and always keep your eye out. There's always a shot sitting out there somewhere waiting. Yeah, exactly. And so that takes you from driving by and seeing one, or preparing for 3 years, to see the cow. And that cow one's great. We had that because I had seen that online, and we set up a shot in Chicago. I haven't put mine out yet, but a couple of people have put theirs out, where bikes were going through the sunrise coming up of Lake Michigan, just like the cow, but it was a biker or a runner. And it was hard to do because it was lakeshore drive and cars were going by. So we had to wait till the exact second that the cars opened up so that you could get the biker in there. And we were yelling at people, hey, slow down,
So
turn around, go back.
Pay attention to us. We're photographers. But that didn't always work so well. All right, let's see. I'll go into mine and we'll see. Do you see Toronto there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I look back and I guess it has been 2 weeks since this was within the last 2 weeks, but I've been doing a lot of trips lately, and that were more from a personal standpoint, and I didn't want to have a bunch of actual gear with me on some of the nights that I was out. So this is shot with the TG5, and being that you can shoot a raw version as well, it's a great park outside of or actually inside of Toronto. And I'll have to remember the name of it, but this TG5, the wonders, that it can really do. So this was the weekend before Chicago, and now we're going to go into some Chicago pictures. And here is actual, and I think we'll put in the link. I'll try to pull up that video. At least I put it on Facebook of me scouting this area earlier in the day, talking about how we were going to shoot it. This was 200 feet from the hotel that we stayed at. And, I know Jamie and I were a little upset with the hotel selection because it was so hard to get a hotel this weekend in Chicago, this specific weekend. And I stumbled on this as got Sears Tower in the background, which I was blown away by. Willis Tower, whatever, Sears Tower. But then you got 290 going through the expressway. So 6 of us, that's who came out the night we did the meet and greet. We went from about 7 to 8:30, and about 9 o'clock I said, let's go out and try to shoot anybody that wants to come. And so six of the 10 came, and we scooted into, I'm going to say, a 4x4 square area on the side of a bridge with traffic running past us. We have tripods up high, tripods low, people in between tripods. It looked like a game of photographer Twister, actually, and to get these shots. So, it's a great place for that. And, down alongside, you got the L running here along the side. So, and then this tree, we were talking about, we want to cut it back so we can get more of it. And actually, I liked it. It actually turned out to frame a little bit. So a lot of fun. Well, I talked a little bit about some of the sunrises. And so we did get out. This is North Avenue Beach, the pier that comes out from way over here and goes all the way out over to here. But with this lighthouse, we'll call it not really a lighthouse, I guess, but, the search warning light. Out there to drop the city in the background. This is definitely taken EM1 Mark II with a 7-14, and of course at this point I'm going to say I didn't write it down before I put it, but it was about a 6 or 7 second exposure to get that. And the thing was, this is way before you can see the sun just barely starting to shine through here. So this was probably at 5:15 in the morning or so, when the crazy people were out. Then the next morning, we were out. Actually, this might have been the same morning. This was the same morning. Just a quick shot. I just grabbed it actually to show you. We're all trying to get a bird here or a bird there to fly by with that sun. We actually, because I didn't have my set of filters with me, so as Tim Karras would say, we waited till the sun dropped behind the clouds a bit, and it was able to use the actual clouds as filters to get some of these. And this is with the 40 to 150 lens on here on the EM1 Mark II to get this shot. Then we go into Wicker Park, one of my absolute favorite places, and we talk a lot about on workshops constantly when you're with Jamie and I, is try something different. So trying to listen to my own advice. And I started saying, I'm always doing panos, of course, landscape panos. I want to get some vertical panos. And there's this great Flatiron building sitting there in Wicker Park. So this is a 3-shot vertical pano with the Pen F17 millimeter on, shot in dramatic art filter. So not your usual thing to do is, from vertical panos, but this gives you a real perspective of how tall this building is in an area that maybe 3 stories is the normal height of buildings. 2 quick ones. These are both shot with that nano or not the Nano, I'm sorry, the Insta 360 one. And this is in Wicker Park with the Vivian Meyer. We just call it the Vivian Meyer Garage. But this was our group, there that weekend. And, one thing about the Insta 360 is you can do great group shots with it because you can get everybody in. So this is the group out walking around in the streets in there. And this is one of those tiny planet pictures. But two quick things about this. Remember I said it does shoot 24 megapixel raw images. You can take this picture, export it out, which makes it a 360 panel basically, and put it right into Lightroom. Do your adjustments in Lightroom, knock down the highlights or whatever for this sun that was blasting by, bring it back into the 360 program and make it these tiny planets. And I'm just standing underneath the L tracks in Chicago in Wicker Park. And it just, when you bend it out and you maneuver the universe, I think the reason I like these kind of pictures, it gets me to think, how in the heck did this get done? And, what's within the picture and where did I see? So, but you usually have the little, you go in and you do some content aware and you get rid of the little shape of the camera there that's left. But they are always fun. And I think that you definitely, if you get that, you want to try them. And let's see, are we back on? Yeah. You want to give yourself a try and get these 360s to do weird angled shapes. Get on the side, get on the angles. Like even behind me with that angle, that probably would be an odd thing. To turn it inside out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's it. And I know we didn't have a lot tonight. I think we just filled you in on what happened for 2 weeks. That was enough. Right. We didn't have a lot of like technical info to pass along to you tonight. No,
I guess I probably could have just titled the show the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess we did talk about that 360 camera.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of a cool thing, and we'll probably be talking
I think
more about that too. The next episode, though, I'll at least tease this out. We're gonna have a guest on, and it's a friend of Mike and ours from the Center Valley, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania area. Very cool guy. Does a lot of really cool stuff in photography also, and incorporating his photography into art as well. And hopefully we can get him on for the next show. I mean, that's the plan. But I think we're going to start trying to maybe do a little bit more of that too as well. We do still have this Adobe giveaway that we're doing. The whole last couple of weeks have just been kind of tough, obviously. So it will benefit you. We'll probably be extending this out just a little bit longer to give you guys a little bit more of a chance to win that copy of a year of Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. Just remember, it's super easy. Create something. Create an image, create a video, create some hybrid like a plotograph, whatever you want to do. Just make some sort of cool content and share it and use the hashtag MirrorlessCC. And we're going to start digging around and picking out some people.
I checked out the other day. There's a couple out there that are pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. That's always good to hear.
And they're not, the people are just doing, like you said, trying something a little different.
That's
fun.
That's good. That's what I want. Different. That's kind of why I'm so excited about these 360 cameras. It's different, and it puts, the fun back into everything. So, I guess that's it. We ran a little bit longer than normal, 45-minute show, probably because the first half of it was talking about drama and trauma.
Right.
But, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Mike, you travel safe down there in Hotlanta, and get out of that Japanese steakhouse, Swedish sauna bathhouse you are, and
all right.
And pictures of that beautiful place you're in. And
all right.
We'll talk to you guys
later. Bye.
See you.